Try. You are live. That mic is muted. Hello, I don't see anyone on yet. Usually it kind of happens fast. They're in a queue when they come in. So it's me, Liz, from Liza Jane Designs. I think I'm on here 2 times from my laptop over here and my friend over here. So here we are. I'm not going to stress until I see people come on, then I'll schedule my stressing. We are working today with the retro stamp. And as often happens with me, when I get an idea and I try the idea and I like the idea, then I do the idea 100 million times, which is why in my write-up, I said, join Liz as she obsesses over the retro stamp and different ways, different fun mixed media ways that we can use it. So I just want to show you a few things that I've worked on in process for this. I'm going to see. So let me start again by introducing myself, Liz, from Liza Jane Designs in Afton, Minnesota. I am broadcasting today from my new spot. I moved again. Hopefully I'll be here for a good 10 months or a year. I don't have your camera on screen right now, just things that I've done. So you can chill for a moment, relax, and I'll bring you back in a minute. I'll bring me back in a minute. Anyhow, we're gonna work with the retro stamp. Here is, I don't know if you're seeing this forwards or backwards, but we're gonna be working on some smalls. Cute, right? And a couple of other things. This one is done same process, a little bit different techniques. Ditto this one. This is something I'm trying to, I moved to my new spot. I have a new saying that says, be brave enough to suck at something new. That's what I want to encourage my customers and my peeps to do. So I'm going to be doing my own lot of braving here. I want to be braving all over the place to encourage other people to brave as well. So that is another. And then there's big ones. So I'm not sure. I got a little desk here, but here is, this one isn't quite done. I'm a big Beatles fan, so in the end, the love you take is equal to the love, and we'll finish that off. I bet you know what the rest of it's going to say. I want to ask, I see there are about 25-ish, 27 people watching. If you could say hello, just say something. I'm learning all the time that Facebook doesn't care how many people watch, they care how many people are engaged. So if you just say hello and you ask a question or tell me where you're from, it helps so much to, it tells Facebook that I'm worth watching. And I hope that you feel I am. And if you could say hello or engage with me here. I'm going to switch cameras so we can get to work. So let me see if I remember how to do that. I want to make me little. And Jill, your camera is the big one now. So you might want to walk around here and look over my shoulder if I've left you enough room to do that. Can I show you for half a second here? Whoops, here's the shop. And here is my good friend, Jill, who's a partner with me here. Jill does a lot of upcycled clothing. I don't know if you can see it over there. So I have turned her on to Rhonda church Finfrock, and we're doing videography. As always, we're building the plane as we fly it. So I want to start with a simple project, an example of what we're doing here, but of course I don't have that piece. I'm going to walk away for a minute. Jill, would you show these guys around the new shop just for a second while I grab? So I've got all of the IOD products in stock. I just got a new shipment yesterday. So that just came in. I will be unloading everything.
Inlays. All nicely displayed now.
Yes, and I'm back. And I brought everything except my paint. So I'm gonna grab my, I brought these for you, Jill. I'm gonna put this here. I did not bring the paint. So maybe I could talk to people. Could you go grab me a white-ish paint over there? One of the ones that are opened. I'm sorry, you guys. Whenever I change anything up, it's like a whole new experience here. I don't know which end is up or how to begin, but nope, it should be one of the clay-based. And they're opened. Nope. I'm sorry, you guys. I could tell dad jokes, which I heard one the other day. So I'm in a river town. I read this one the other day that a guy was commenting on how close another boat was getting to him, and he said, "Oh my, that boat is getting. Why is that boat getting so close?" And then it hit him. So that's the joke. And then it hit him. Dad jokes. Very bad. We'll use this one. It's white enough. White enough is what we're going to call it. And I'm going to go with a little bit of this. All right, guys. This is how it really works in the world of Liza Jane Designs. It's a wing and a prayer, and I'm going to use very white as the base, and we're going to use a different color later. So for what we're starting out with here, I'm using an IOD 8x10 wood blank. So one of the gallery wood blanks. And I'm going to be doing a little decoupage on here before we start stamping. And that is why I am painting the background white. Eventually, I'm going to paint this blue, but where I put my decoupage tissue, I want to go down with the brightest white I have so that the colors from the decoupage paper will really pop when they go on. So step one, get your background painted white.
Do you want a clay-based white instead, or?
It doesn't really matter what type of white paint, as long as it's white. For this, it's just the color that matters. So the formula or the brand doesn't matter. It could be acrylic, it could be a chalk style. I want to show you this guy. Can you get that in frame? So we're going to finish this guy up too. I'm a little all over the place, I know, but let me explain, let me use this to explain our process. So this is a very large, you can see very large, I would say it's, I don't know how big, almost 24 by 36, so it's very big. And I started this the very same way by painting the whole back of this board. Now, this is similar to an IOD wood blank, but I built it myself with some nice thin, good quality plywood and boards across the back because I really wanted a big, big piece. So you could build this yourself. If you're in my neck of the woods, you could get one here, but I painted it all white, like I just did that small 8x10, and then I applied a decoupage tissue. Entire thing, just laid it down. We're gonna be doing that in a second, so you'll see that process too. And then I used the retro stamp. We'll get into this guy a bit more in a bit. I want to talk to you a little bit about braving. Do we see braving? So with braving, I also started by painting the board white. I did not use decoupage tissue. What I did with braving was to use the retro stamps and I put them out on the board, and then I loosely painted with very watered down chalk paint and just got a nice pattern that I liked. I painted around all the negative space around that with dark for this one. So that's how this guy came to be. So this is using watered down chalk paint and then painting the negative space around those letters. Sometimes I pump up the color in the, in the end, I'll add a little bit more. I'll add some watercolor or water down some more chalk paint. But here's a couple of other little boards that I'm going to tell you a secret. My grandson, who's 25 years old, has a sweet little daughter whose name is Scarlet. That's how they spell Scarlet. And Scarlet is about to become a big sister. So when that happens and Valerie joins the family, they'll have their own little name signs, which I think is a sweet application for this. So Scarlet and Valerie, done the same way. We're working on that chalk paint getting dry. I'm not even going to talk about this one yet because it's too confusing, I think. Here is one in a different state of process. I'm a Beatles fan, I'm original generation Beatles fan. So the quote being, and in the end, the love you take is equal to the love you make. Same process, right? I'm going to set this down and hopefully Jill can come on down and get an angle on this. I painted the entire board white. What I like to do, if I'm just doing a single word, I just place the stamps out. So for Valerie, the stamps can just go on the board. It's one word. Valerie was a little short, so I added a heart. When I'm doing something bigger like this, I like to lay it out on paper first. Now this is kind of messy. It's like my sketch for it, right? And I want to see where the letters will fit, how many rows do I have to have, that kind of thing. I'm not about making it perfect, but I want it to look balanced and pleasing, right? So I typically will use a metal square. What I knew in doing this outline that I wanted love over here and love over here. I didn't want them right under each other, and I needed space above, below, and twice as much space in the middle. So that's where I got my ruler, right? And I knew I wanted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 areas, and I make little chips with a pencil and kind of some light lines that I can use as guides. Laid out the decoupage tissues, which we're about to do over here. It's not quite dry enough yet, but we lay out the decoupage tissues, use the retro stamps. Let me reach behind and grab those. Oh, there's the wood blank. I didn't know where it was. Grabbing the retro stamps. So I just pull out L, O, that was actually a V, there's the L and the E. Because I am going to paint the background white, what I did is I used mixing white as my stamping medium. And because I don't always clean my stamps super well, this mixing white is kind of a very, very pale gray. So I ink up my stamp and stamp over the decoupage tissue when it's dry. You'll see that in a minute. And then we paint the negative space around that. So we've done all those things. With this one, we're at the final step of adding the last words. And for that, I used the new, what is this stamp set called? It's, we're going to go look at what this stamp set here is called. It is letterpress. So we're using letterpress. Yes, there's retro and that's letterpress. So I'm going to turn off that banner. It's kind of annoying. Let's turn that off. There we go. So we're going to just stamp the rest on here. It's a multi-step process, right? So we've got you take is equal to the, getting an echo again, the love. So I placed them all back. I love doing that. It kind of reminds me of being a kid and using color forms. Yeah, I'm not sure why that's doing that. I'm gonna, all right, you guys.
No, that's worse. Good sound effects.
Oh, technical difficulties, right? Always technical difficulties. Okay, I'm back with 2 cameras. I want to make one small again. There we go. This is the one that matters. I'm picking off.
Should I turn?
The love.
We need Taya.
Can you hear now? People who are watching, is that a terrible echo? It's a terrible echo on my end. Oh, man. I'm going to mute this mic. Go back to just that one. We're going to do our best. Here we go. Is equal to the love you make. And I think you probably, anybody watching is probably pretty familiar with basic stamping. But I'm just going to line these up now where I want them. Oh, I don't need love. I need you make. Y, O, U. And sometimes I like to channel my inner ransom note writer, I guess, and do those old, mix up the fonts. So we have our love we take equal to the love we make. So I line those up with the business side down, this part that's going to actually make the impression. And I will use a yes, what am I going to use? I'm going to use, we're really winging it here. I'm using the back of this stamp with the stamps right on it. So there we have the words we're going to use. This is totally freestyle, right, you guys? We're going to do this, stamping that up, and see if I can see where they are. You make. Boom. I'm pressing. I'm not shifting. I'm trying to make a really nice impression there. And I didn't do so well with the M. So what do we do when that happens? We fix it. Boom. There we go. So in the end, I like it. The love you take is equal to the love you make. And I think that's probably broadly true, right? Some finishing touches on a thing like this, for me, involve taking some bright colors that I choose from the paper underneath. So I'm going to use this bright blue. I'm going to grab a watercolor brush and get it very wet. Thanks for coming in. Very wet, blue paint on it, and we're going to splatter. And that, to me, is a great finishing touch because we're taking the colors in those letters. Woo! I've got paint on my face now. Sorry, Jill, did I get you? I did yellow earlier. I'm going to grab a little of that yellow. I watered down a bunch of yellow here earlier, and it'll kind of mix up and make some green, but that's good too. Oh, you thought that was my, no, not my breakfast. And some yellow down here. So this guy's almost finished, right? This guy has all the steps, the decoupage, the stamping, the splatter at the end. We're going to set that aside. I probably have too many things going on, but we're going to go back to project 1. So I told you that my grandson is 25 years old. He's the oldest of the 7 grandchildren, and he has a daughter and almost another daughter who will be born in November. They have an aunt, these 2 little girls. My granddaughter Eve is 8 years old, and she is aunt to the 2 kids, Valerie and Scarlett. And Eve's favorite color, last time I checked, was blue. So we're gonna take, and it doesn't have to be perfect here because we're gonna be using the retro stamp. I have a pair of scissors that might work better. So we're gonna lay down this decoupage tissue. And if you're a follower of Iron Orchid Designs, you probably have heard of Lexi Grenzer. Lexi does licensing on some of the beautiful designs we get in our transfers. Well, she's the designer behind this particular recycled decoupage paper too. I hope it's okay that I mention that. I love Lexi's work. So we're using a decoupage medium here. I'm spreading that out on this now dry white painted surface. We're gonna lay down this tissue. And what do I have today to spread that out? I had a squeegee here. The brayer works super well, but I don't see that I have that. Well, I can use a brush. Brayers are beautiful for this job because it just puts the paper down without wrinkles, but I'm using a dry paintbrush here, and I'm pushing the tissue down into the sticky medium. I'm using a varnish to do this. You can use a Mod Podge or liquid patina. I'm using a matte varnish to attach that decoupage paper. So that's good. I don't think, let me see if I have my squeegee down here. See, in a couple of weeks when I come back, I'll be more settled into this space, I hope. But there, the decoupage tissue is attached to the 8 by 10 inch gallery blank. We're going to now take the retro stamps. Because this is just a simple one, I'm going to put the letters for Eve, E-V, and then we'll come back over here for that one. I'm going to see if I can hold these with a plastic. I don't know if that'll hold it. Yeah, kind of. I'm probably better just freestyling it. So I'm using this barely will be visible mixing white ink that's gotten dirty on the stamp pad. And we're gonna press that and try to get a decent impression that only I have to see. I don't know if you can see it on camera. It is very hard to see. You can see right there. But I want it to be hard to see because we're going to cover that up. Maybe for the sake of the video, I'll use this brown ink I have because I don't think that'll stand out too much. And we'll do the E over here. Just pressing the edges or where the lines are. You can see that a little bit better. Yes, E. And I can see the V. And we're going to add one more. So Auntie Eve, 8-year-old Auntie Eve, will have her sign for her bedroom as well. Keeping that straight and going right here, focusing just on these lines because I don't want to fill in the middle. So there, that says Eve. In all of the other examples that I've done for today, I painted the background white. On this one, we're going to mix it up a little bit and we're going to go with blue. Paint your background white. Lay down your decoupage tissue, stamp it, and then we're just going to paint around the stamping. So I can see these lines. And they come here and across right here. I'm going to cover up that brown because I don't want that to show. Bringing this around. And I may need a second coat later, or I may decide I like the way that decoupage paper shows through. So we're just filling in, and I tend to use a smaller brush up close to the letters so I can. Do we have any questions? Is anyone commenting? I begged for comments at the beginning. I'll beg again for comments. So Facebook says, hey, that Liza Jane Designs. People like to talk to her. That's good. That's what I'm going for, guys. I want to reach as many people as I can. And if Facebook thinks I'm interesting enough, and they judge that by how many people comment and get engaged. So say hello, even just a quick hi. Any questions that you have, any suggestions for other ways to use this technique. I find it super fun. I'm a person who loves quotations. I have a Pinterest board where I save quotes that mean something to me. And just a fun activity to take a big canvas and stamp with meaningful words, if you like a particular Bible verse or song lyrics. Using this process to get them on a big canvas and then painting the negative space around them is so relaxing and meditative. It's adult coloring on steroids, basically. I'm going to go across here, and I hope you're beginning to see Eve. Eve is starting to show up. I'm going to switch to a bigger brush to cover more area more quickly so that Aunt Eve will have her own name sign for her room. Eve is one of my biggest Liza Jane Designs fans. She comes to Crafton and Afton events. She is super fun and creative. She loves Iron Orchid Designs about as much as we do. So I think that's looking pretty cool. Later, I can add some more embellishment, do some more things, but you get the concept, right, guys? You are doing the letters, and in this case, I'm using decoupage paper. If you're not a decoupage kind of a person, let me just show you this one. I also painted it white. And for this, I used the Le Courier stamp. Courier, yes, that one. I used that stamp to get the newsprint on the white. Then I stamped with the retro stamp. And then I painted around with this chalkboardy color, dark. So you get grounded, which is, it's a concept I need to remind myself of a lot, to ground myself. We're going to set Eve aside. We're going to bring our big guy back out here again and just do a little bit more on this with white. Do I have enough room here? You can see in here my brush strokes. Now later, if I want to, I can cover that up by doing another coat, or I might say, you know what? I like how those brush strokes look in there. I'm not going to cover them up. I'm going to leave it just the way it is. So we'll see, you guys, what decision I make about that. I'm trying to find, I think I could use this brush. Yeah, this has a little, what's it on there? Little varnish on it. But we're going to come in here and do the same kind of thing we just did with Eve. That one is too, this one is good for the middle. And I'm using the white. And I don't know if you can see those letters. I did it again. I stamped them on already. So we're doing this. We're filling in the negative space around. This is also a Lexi Grenzer decoupage design. I do love me some Lexi. And we're just going around the negative space. If we are missing any comments, I will be going back later to see. So if you have questions or comments, please do make them. And if we don't address them live right now, we will catch them later, I promise. So we're going to finish this guy up this way. So I created this for my great granddaughter's bedroom. They each have their name sign saying Valerie, Miss Scarlett, who's 2.5 years old now, and this really big piece that says, a sister is God's way of proving He doesn't want us to walk alone. So that is going to be for Scarlett and Valerie's bedroom. And I'm going to finish that up here by painting the negative space around these letters and enjoying the heck out of the whole process as I do it. I'm using StreamYard today, you guys. I've been using that lately so that I can do a video on my own page. At the same time, I'm on the IOD page, and at the same time to my YouTube channel. Once in a while, I'm super fortunate to have my friends like Jill come in and help. But I'm often just a one-woman show, and as a result, I just try to kill all the bases at once if I can. So I'm using StreamYard. I am no expert at StreamYard yet. I don't even know how really to find comments and read them. So I hope someone is saying hello. I hope you're telling us where you're from. I hope you are saying if you like this or you don't, or you think it's a weird jumbled up process. I'll do a quick review at the end to cover the steps in order, but that is one of the challenges of live video, right? You want to have things in different stages so you can demo all the steps, but they don't show up necessarily in the order in which you follow them. So here we go. I don't know if you can see my stamping, but it's here. And I'm just filling in around the stamps. I think I need the small brush again to get in here. And when I'm all done with this guy, I'm going to do the splatter that we did. I'm going to choose some of the colors I see in here. So the pinks and the greens and the blues, and I'm going to apply splatter over the top of all this white, which tends to unify the whole thing and it brings it together. And I love a nice splatter. So there we go, us two. What time are we getting? We're like 40 minutes. So we got a few more minutes to go, a few more minutes to answer questions. I'll do a quick review here at the end. Jill, do you have any questions?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Not that I can think of right now.
Do you have a favorite quote that you might like to do this with? Or I am putting you on the spot. You can think about that. We've got
think about that.
5 more minutes.
An important thing that I know, because I just studied decoupaging, and that is that those wrinkles that showed up, they disappeared.
They do disappear.
So you don't have to worry about them. The ones that go when you go over the top, when she painted over the top of the blue.
Yes.
This one.
Thank you for saying that. They do disappear. And if you like the texture, you can create it so they don't disappear. They can be part of it.
How do you do that?
You kind of
Another class?
wrinkle on purpose. Purposeful wrinkling. And I did a little of that on the love.
Okay.
And if I were to do that, if I had a wrinkly decoupage, I would wrinkle up my paint by doing things like this. See how I'm doing that? And it's making wrinkles in my paint so that it's consistent, right? You don't, usually, I don't think you would want wrinkled decoupage paper in smooth as silk, but you might, I don't know. So the thing is to learn the techniques so you can get what you want and not have to end up with something less than what you want. So there we have that. I'm kind of liking how you can see the brush strokes around the letters, but I'll bring some of that out. We're going to finish Want Us, and then I'll probably walk alone very appropriately on my own. I'll do the walk alone words. But you can see how doing this and painting the negative space really pops the decoupage paper beneath. The wrinkly paint.
I like the wrinkly paint.
Just a lot of texture, yeah. Jill and I are both boho girls.
That's a good way to describe this.
I sell candles here in my shop made locally by a young woman who named her business Hippie Weirdo Candles. So being an old hippie weirdo myself, I'm so happy to know there'll be a generation to follow of delightful, loving, kind, peaceful hippie weirdos. Maria is probably in her 30s, do you think? That's,
yeah, late 20s, early 30s.
yep, she makes wonderful soy-based candles in boho containers, and that's her business name, Hippie Weirdo Candles. So I just have to feature them in my shop because, I don't know, we have a hippie weirdo kind of vibe here. Sometimes more weirdo than hippie, but okay. It's not perfect, but neither am I, right? So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna smooth that out. This has to come up. So I don't know if you guys know, there's like I think it's a Buddhist tradition reminding us that only God is perfect. So if a Buddhist artist happens to do something that doesn't have a mistake in it, they put one in on purpose to remind them that only God is perfect. I think that's a good sentiment. And I dripped paint around here, so I never have to add the mistakes on purpose. I make them all naturally. And here's another example. Can you show over here, Joe, to tell on myself here? This is not a W, you guys. This is an upside down M. Here's a W. Upside down M, that was not intentional.
Was I couldn't find the W?
That was, I didn't realize it was an M and I just did it. But I left it because, again, only God is perfect. I'm a long way from that. So where are we? It's time to close up. I'm going to reach over for Eve over here, and we're going to rehash a little bit. I am going to post the finished products in the tribe and on my page. But we've got this one that we took kind of from start to finish here, where we used an 8 by 10 inch IOD wood blank. I painted it white so that the decoupage paper would shine and really show the full brightness of the colors. Stamped quietly, quiet stamping with a pale color so that I could paint over the top later. So this one is Eve. I'll probably lighten up some of this blue, but we'll see. You'll see the finished product at some point. So this guy, we have a call coming in. We're gonna decline that call. Sorry for the interruption. That was a call coming in. Do we know how to get that back? All right, here's what we're gonna do. I know I'm losing people here. Bring this on, make you big. I got a phone call and the phone camera stopped. So we're gonna review them this way. I think we talked about this one. Oh, it popped back on now. Eve, all the way through. We've got Scarlet. We've got Valerie. Leaning over and I'm gonna fall out of my chair.
And I don't know what happened to our camera.
Oh my goodness. Ah. We have this guy that we took a little bit further to the splatter stage, right? So maybe I'm cramming too much into here, but you get the idea, right? Lots of things you can use behind the retro stamp to create names, birth announcements. I think would be super cool to do the name and then the baby's date of birth and weight. So that could be fun. I love the splatter. Obviously, you don't have to use white. You just want something to contrast. That is it for today. I'm calling this Retro Love because I do love that retro stamp. If you have any questions now or whenever, feel free to message me, but leave comments here with the video and I will get back and I'll answer them. I am Liz from Liza Jane Designs in Afton, Minnesota, in the St. Croix River Valley. I do classes and workshops here. If I am your local stockist, I hope to see you soon. If I am not your local stockist, please go to the IOD, ironorchiddesigns.com, retailer locator, and find a stockist near you. We all love what we do and we want to share our love of Iron Orchid Designs and creativity. So Get yourself with a local stockist and you will never have a boring minute ever again in your entire life. I promise. So I'm going to sign off. Liza Jane, Afton, Minnesota. I'll see you again in 2 weeks. Peace out. It's been real and fun. And I hope it was real fun. Bye. No, it didn't end. Hit it one more time. Oh, we're going, guys. It makes you say it twice. Like, do you really want to end the broadcast? Yes, I do.